test video's sake, this is yelling and screaming.
This is yelling and screaming.
General concept is NFL only. Kind of like weekly.
Yeah, weekly post game from the previous week and lead up to the next week. We're gonna do some talk on some of the rules, a few things going on in the league. Best and worst of the week. What's going on with the officiating? What's going on with the uniforms? We got to shit on Skip, of course, because he's a pain in the ass.
So we know that the market is very saturated. You can watch NFL video for every hour of every day. So the real focus is interplay between us. Just like a different slant. We're going to launch these midweek, so a little bit out of the normal cycle for NFL content. Should allow us to respond to things that happen early in the week and have more data toward the end of the week. So we'll see how that goes. But that's the general concept.
Yep. How are we doing on actual content from the NFL, replay, anything like that?
Yeah, we can plug in, if there's something really big that we want to talk about from a news and notes standpoint, or from like a best and worst.
Yeah.
We can throw the videos directly in there. You'll probably have seen them by the time we show you, but what you will have not seen is a show talking about it with the live video. So very recap centric in that way. We should be able to handle things from a pretty holistic point of view by Tuesday night when we film, Wednesday when we publish.
Yep. We'll have Monday night's info. So we'll have a full slate of all the games for the week, barring any weird reschedulings or anything crazy like that. And then we'll have a lead up for the Thursday night game. We'll also have a little segment on the game of the week, kind of a little touch on that, as to what we think the game of the week should be based on what the matchups are that week. Any notable injuries happening that week. We'll give you some picks on who we think is going to win throughout the week, and may have a few special guests come on to do picks as well. Add a few different elements to the show to kind of give it a little more pizzazz.
I'm not saying we will have Morgan Wallen, but it is possible. There is a not zero chance.
There is a white Morgan that will be showing up in probably in a few instances for the show.
Hopefully not too much.
Heard his name.
So consider this kind of like a test filing. We're going to treat the Hall of Fame game as our review, and the first week of preseason as our preview, and just kind of see what we need to change. No one might ever see this, but you might.
I hope someone sees it. Someone's going to see it. Upset to my mind.
Fair enough. So, Hall of Fame game was last night, kicked off the NFL season. I'm very happy to have it back.
Finally back in full swing. It's been a long run, a lot of other sports, and obviously with the Olympics going on, people are still very, very focused on, their countries and other sports and athletics for the next, I'd say, another week or so. I think the Olympics is approximately another week. But for all the football fans out there, we're back, baby. We are back.
There's nothing like it.
The energy for football, I always joked about it, but when you go to a bar or you just hang out with your friends, you sit at the house and you say it's Sunday, you know what that means. That means we're not moving. That means we sit our ass down, we have some beers, we eat some snacks, and we watch a bunch of dudes run into each other.
And we are blessed. We're in Arizona, so for the beginning of the football season, we're on Pacific time, and the game started at 10 a.m.
Yep.
And there's nothing like hitting the bar, and your bar has to open early, so you can actually see the beginning of the football games, because no one's open at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. So I always enjoy that from a fan standpoint, because you get that community. It's literally the other degenerates standing outside the bar waiting for the door to open, but it is community.
Yep. And you know what? You feel a lot less like a degenerate when everybody else there has probably been pre-gaming too. It's like it's a tailgate, but with a few less broken tables. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Devil's advocate, shout out.
Well, I mean, it also depends on whose game you're watching. If you're watching the Jets or you're watching the Bills do it on purpose, and the Jets do it because they suck.
East Coast bias. That's us. So, Hall of Fame game, Bears-Texans. We watched most of it.
We were able to watch up through about, I want to say with about 5 minutes left or so in the third quarter, until the game was unfortunately delayed and then terminated due to weather. I had no idea that it rained in Ohio. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, it wasn't starters to begin with.
Yeah.
We got to see a lot of what I think the Bears offense will actually look like. I think they're holding some things a little close to the vest because they do play the Texans week 2.
True.
But I get a feeling watching Brett Rippon specifically that it's a fair enough proxy for what Caleb Williams can do. Obviously, he's a far better athlete, we think. Better athlete in college for sure. No offense to Brett Rippon or his family, but
he wasn't number 1 pick for a reason.
But game flow wise, I thought we got a feel for what they're going to do. I'm a little worried about the running backs, but Swift is obviously a different animal than you're going to have further down the depth chart.
Much more dynamic running back, and then looking at all the weapons that they added to their offense, the style of play felt nice and free, nice and loose. Johnson made some great catches on the outside on a couple of back shoulders and a couple of outpost routes, and so it looks like that the style of play will be really beneficial to all the weapons that they re-signed and added to the team this year in the receiver core. And then that kind of will help stretch the field a little bit and give Swift a little bit more space around the line to kind of do what he needs to do. So it's going to be interesting to see.
How many wins for the Bears this year?
Well, I'm a little biased. But most of the friends are saying somewhere between 11 and 12. I'm going to take the under on that. As much as I want to think that Caleb Williams is going to come in there and just be this lights out player, I think that really he's going to get a little bit of a awakening in the NFL, as most guys do. And I think there's going to need to be some cohesion with the receiver core. You take 3 number 1 receiver guys and you put them all on the same team. Now, granted, Rome was in college. And granted, Keenan was in San Diego, and DJ Moore coming back. But
got the bag.
You got he did get a bag. But you want to make sure that you got these guys in a really, really good flow for how that offense is going to work. And then there's no egos happening there. They got to be real cohesive in that. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the prevailing line for Vegas is like 9 for the Bears.
Well, if it's over 9, I'll give you that. Shoot, they got a pretty soft schedule. Not gonna lie.
Third week of schedule.
It is a pretty soft schedule. So we were counting out, and Kendall, one of our buddies, who is a football fan as well, was looking at 11 games before he even sneezed, and I was like, all right, look, we gotta be realistic here, right? They didn't just suddenly become the Chiefs. They didn't suddenly become this prolific team. They still have to play good defense. They still have to have solid special teams. They still got to make sure that the guys on offense are playing well together as well. And God forbid there's an injury that pops up somewhere, So we want to be realistic. I can see the Bears potentially having a nice 10-win season, which would be really, really good for them. The only thing is they got a few other teams in that division that can make some noise. So
10 wins might win the division. I don't know if you can get to 10 and drop 2 games to the Packers and win the division, but if you're in that double-digit area, that might be enough. I
feel like it's definitely enough to get them a playoff spot. Now, as far as winning the division, Lions are going to be a pretty solid team this year as well. And, the Packers really, really feel like they have their new guy in Love, so it's going to be interesting to see how that team plays. And obviously, you've got home and away games. Weather can always be a factor and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how those teams play each other in their 2 games in the season.
Bears Packers, week 18.
Oh, that's going to be an important game.
Very well could.
It should be a very important game.
At least we know it's not the Vikings.
Well, not every team can make really bad decisions. But if they could, they'd be the Vikings.
Did you see anything else from the Hall of Fame game that really stood out to you? I do want to talk about the kickoffs, but besides that, is there anything from the game itself that struck you as odd?
Not to only put emphasis on how the Bears' season is going to look. Texans coming off of a great season last year. C.J. Stroud really showed that he's a leader for that team. And their weapons on offense are nothing to scoff at as well. And still Will Anderson in there, great defensive player. And their defense, D'Amico Ryans is doing a great job just maintaining and developing that team. They've had a history of being a good defensive team, so just keeping that and then building on that offense. Like, I'm excited about what their season's going to look like as well.
So books have been favored to win the division. I'm not convinced it's not the Jaguars, but the Texans are really deep at all their skill positions. Now, obviously, good wide receivers, but we saw a lot of their running back depth last night. And that was
it looked very nice.
Impressive to see. And it's nice because those guys get worn down and they can't be out there for every play. So if you can go 3 deep with your running backs, you're in a really good position to have a successful year.
They're not hoping to be a running back by committee team, but any time that you got multiple guys in that backfield that can really get that ball downhill and move the chains is always a plus.
So, if you had to pick one takeaway from the Hall of Fame game, what would it be?
If I had to pick one takeaway from the Hall of Fame game from each one of those teams, it would be that I'm really excited for the season. I don't want to put too much emphasis on watching third and fourth string players play in the rain in a game that doesn't really hold any value or merit to their schedule. But it was just nice to see that, the game is going to continue to push some boundaries and kind of implement some new things. And I'm a big sports nerd when it comes to the technology in the game too. So I'm excited about some of the other developments they've done as far as cameras and replays and some of the other rule changes they've come up with. That should help hopefully benefit the game a little bit better this year.
So let's talk about the big one.
Oh.
Let's talk about kickoffs. The first time we've gotten to see the new kickoff rules in action, I was impressed.
I'm optimistic. I wasn't impressed only because we're watching, again, third and fourth string players playing, so there were multiple penalties on the kickoff. But as far as the significance and impact of the kickoff now, I think that it's going to be so much more than what we've seen in the past few years. They basically made it pointless in the last few years. And now they're like, they already changed the extra point to make it much more of a significant impact on the game. And so seeing the kickoff change now and remembering guys like our new Hall of Famer Devin Hester, remember guys like Dante Hall and guys like Brian Mitchell and some of the other return men, Cordell Patterson obviously in recent years, but like some of those guys who made their bread and butter off of returns, now having more of a chance to have impact on the game in a sufficient way is going to be great to really see that develop. And I'm curious to see what different things teams might do in some of their lineups on that. And when you're in crunch time, where do who's going to be that guy back there to receive that? And it'd be interesting. I feel like there's going to be a few more instances where you'll see your wide receivers back there as opposed to your return guy, just because of how significant that's going to be in impacting the game.
One thing we talked about offline in the group chat was coaches, right? Special teams coaches are generally older guys. They know special teams. They coach special teams, running fast, hitting hard. We saw, obviously, just very small sample size, but not really big men out there on kickoff. It's more of a traditional kick return team.
Yeah.
But when you're unable to run and you're lined up 2 yards away from each other, I think there might be an opportunity there for linemen, linebackers, larger players to be used there for specifically blocking. Because you don't have to run and form a wedge. You don't have to be moving at essentially the speed of your returner. You're lined up. So I think there might be an opportunity there to use your skilled trench players to build a trench in the middle of the kick return.
I do like that idea. I think that they're definitely going to be more linebacker-sized players in there. A lot. I do expect that, not just less running gun guys, just because you don't need as much speed. But I do think that having guys that have really good speed, that good tackling ability, you're going to have more. You're going to probably have some more safeties back there, strong safeties. and some guys like that, as opposed to having those 4, 5, 6 receivers that are just really, really quick and can get down to the ball, and you don't really need that guy anymore because he's not running that far. But at the same token, like there's those guys who have been really, really good return men or defensive players on your returns in years are always going to have their position on that field. So they're going to definitely still be able to make some impact. But it'll be really interesting. I'm curious to see who's the second man up. So not the deep return guy, but that guy in front of him. Like, who do you put back there? And are you putting a guy that's going to be like a tight end? You want a guy who's going to be like he's got some speed, he's got some good blocking ability, but if the ball comes to him, he can make a move. Or are you putting back there like a guy who's more of a traditional blocker, be a fullback? Or are you going to put back there someone a little bit bigger, someone a little bit smaller? Like, how do you play that position out as well?
I think it might end up feeling more like punt return because of the angle they have to kick to drop it into that zone. Yeah. You really, I think one return man can cover all that space unless someone starts like just burning them in there. But for as long as they have to arc them and drop them in, it's almost like a punt return.
But you can kick that ball down there with a lot less. It's a wide landing zone. By the way, the new rule, if you guys aren't familiar with it, is that the kicker's now required to kick the ball in a landing zone that is from the goal line and the 20-yard line. If they kick the ball behind that, then it's a touchback. Ball comes out to the 30. If they kick it in front of that, ball goes to the 40. If they kick it in the landing zone, then the return man has a chance to return it. If not, it's called as a fair catch, a standard fair catch. Also, they're the defensive players, or the usually your gunners and your other guys on the return team. They're only lined up 10 yards away from each other on the 35 and the 25. Am I mistaken? I believe it's 35 and the 25-yard line. They're lined up against and I'll double check that for you guys. But they're lined up only 10 yards away from each other. They are not allowed to move until the receiver has made the catch. Then they can take off, either offense or defense. And what was interesting is obviously, again, we're looking at a lot of third and fourth string players. So in a new implementation of this rule in live play, but there were a fair amount of penalties where a player moved earlier than they were supposed to. So it's going to be real interesting, especially from a defensive standpoint, is because when you are the receiving team, typically you can see the ball. You see the ball. You're running back, to get in position to start blocking. Whereas now you just have to wait until this guy runs at you because you can't tell at all unless you're looking at the screen.
Maybe that's your back, right? Maybe that's the second returner. Call it.
He just calls it out. Yeah, that's a good.
You're still chasing them. You're still behind.
And even then, like he's got to see the guy behind him and then yell it out and then turn around. Yep. So it's a lot of moving parts now in this new kickoff format that they actually they ripped from the XFL.
Correct.
And
then the UFL got rid of it. They went to NFL kickoffs, which was mind-boggling. But as a lover of chaos, I am very excited. You're allowed to use a 12th man to hold the ball for the kicker. And I understand mechanically why, but I immediately thought Mike Tomlin tripping people on the sideline. And I cannot wait for that 12th man to have an interference penalty on what should be a kick return for a touchdown.
I think that the first instance of an interference call or an 12th man on the field is going to be that 12th man on the field in like a rainy situation or a snowy situation. The ball gets kicked and he falls. And then he has to get up and run off the field and he doesn't get off in time. I think that's going to be the first instance of an extra man on the field for that play. And right now, it's the holder. So they don't have to have somebody there. But at this point, it's good because they get the angle of the ball and kind of get a better feel for how to getting it into the landing zone as opposed to just popping on the tee. But I saw in the game, some guys grabbed the tee, some guys didn't grab the tee. And so just adding extra elements of chaos to the game, absolutely correct.
So exciting.
And is it going to be your punter? Is it like, who's your holder for that? So it's just more cerebral thought that you got to put into it as a coach.
And that was really interesting from the Bears. So the Bears did not use their starting punter as their punter in the game. But he was the holder on the kickoffs. So I don't know if that is indicative of his role or if he's the only one on the team with experience holding.
And they were just
So it'd be interesting to see what teams do because, they he has to come off the field. So there's no reason to use a specialist, a speed guy, because he's not a part of it. But what I need to look at the actual rule. Because what I want to do is have like a gunner hold and have my shitty 12th man lined up over by the sideline, and he steps off. And then the holder comes flying down full speed. I don't know if you can do that.
You definitely can't do that. Only because if I'm not mistaken, all of the players except for the kicker need to be lined up on the line. So he can't come. Yeah, so he can't do that. But that would be very interesting little caveat.
Well, and with Belichick gone, we'll never know the real way we can take
you mean because we don't have enough people spying on each other? Yeah.
So kickoffs will be huge this year. It's going to be really interesting to see in preseason how that manifests, because very small sample size. We had 6 kickoffs in this game. Rain shortened,
But some of those, so now some of your favorite return men historically, they're chiming in right now. Hall of Fame game, Devin Hester just got inducted, and he was like, "Man, I wish I had a chance to kind of pop in on one of these."
Yeah, they were interviewing him during a kickoff, and his eyes lit up. He was very, very intrigued by this. There's so much room.
So much room for activities. Plus, the guy's job is to kick the ball to you, as opposed to before, where their job was to kick the ball in the back of the end zone. Yeah, you don't want to do anything. Now they're like, nope, put it in the landing zone. Kick it, basically give them a punt style. Kick it as high as you can, put it at that point. And there are guys who are going to be very, very good at doing that on kickoffs. But I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of guys who want the ball to kick away and just take the 30 and let it sit.
Well, they're used to it, right? I mean, that's not any different than what the NFL has been doing for 5 seasons now, since they changed all the kickoff rules and moved it up. So I mean, the touchbacks are probably still going to be there. Kicking out of the back of the end zone, I always said 30. So I mean, there's probably a risk tolerance in there for some of these teams, but especially if you don't have a return man you feel really good about. I'd be okay with it as an offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah,
give it to me at the 30. Like, I don't need the kick return.
That's fair. But it's definitely going to add some more exciting plays to the game.
Yeah, as a fan, give it to me.
Yeah, give me something more. Give me something else to watch.
Let him free kick.
I want
to see a great punter just coffin corner that thing.
A free kick would be awesome, but I wish that they could bring back some of the blocking schemes that they had on those. Like, give me the 2-man, give me the wedge, like give me the wall. Like, I want that to come back. Especially since there are only 3, they're so close to each other. It's not like they can gain so much momentum to get injured. Really, they're 10 yards away from each other. It's not that crazy to to get the wall together. So I think that would be really, really cool to bring. But then your linemen back there become way more significant.
Yes, I'm very excited to see. We'll have a kickoff return touchdown early in the season.
Oh yeah,
there's just no way we don't.
100%. Who? Okay. If you had to pick a team now, based on the current return men, or at least last year's Falcons, Cordero, Joker.
I think they have Cordell Patterson on punt returns, and the kickoff returner is that little running back. Man, I had his name when you asked me, and I said Falcons immediately, and it's gone now.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of who else. Houston actually has some burners. Up to and including Desmond King, who is getting a little long in the tooth. He's a little older now, but that's a guy that loves returning kicks, knows how to find his lanes and his angles. So that would be an interesting one.
Berrios in Miami?
Yeah, Braxton Berrios is quick. He's pretty quick. You got the kid, the Patriots cornerback. Malcolm? I don't know if he'll return kicks coming off his injury. But he was a hell of a punt returner.
I mean, probably not. I think that they want him to. I think they want him to come back with the injury full and not take on that extra. If you still want to play corner.
Well, their offense is going to be bad, so you need your defense well rested.
Raymond McLeod still there?
Ray's down there, yeah.
Yep. It'll be interesting down there. Nixon in Green Bay.
Yeah, Keyshawn Nixon
was actually one of the better return men this year.
Didn't return kickoffs.
Oh, punt return.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I don't know how that changes with the new rules, right? Because it is more like a punt return.
No, he returned kickoffs too. I have him returning 30 kickoff returns.
Oh, okay.
For the season, yeah. 2023 regular
Surprised
season.
they had that many opportunities.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
So kickoffs will be something to watch this season. That's gonna be really interesting.
Will be good. Very, very cool.
So, I think the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into preseason preview would be, I'm a uniform guy. I love uniforms.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So there's been some interesting ones. Houston included.
Houston's uniforms are actually really, really dope. Not gonna lie.
We got in an argument about what color they were.
Oh my goodness.
Which it turns out everyone was wrong, except the girls, because they're always right. It is indeed
It was blue.
blue.
However, they went with what was it? Blue. It was like blue steel or something.
Yeah, blue steel or steel
something
blue.
crazy
Yeah,
like that.
it looked. I don't know if it was raining early and we just couldn't see it, and so they were wet. But they looked charcoal.
I thought it was like a bluish grayish black, basically like a super dark grayish. I would say super dark, light black, dark gray, but like with a blue tint on there.
We got to looking though, and they actually have some fire uniforms. They have their H-Town unis that are the ones they have to use because the Titans won't let them use the Oilers colors, which I think is hilarious. But those uniforms are sick. And then they have the all reds. And I don't like the motif of the all red, but the
helmet is fire.
Have the large bowl and it's kind of offset and in black, and it looked amazing.
Have you seen the Ravens' new?
Yes.
It is so dope.
What a color scheme.
That's a great. That purple scheme is just going to look so cool.
It looks like a college uniform.
But
in all the best ways.
But yeah, college uniforms are always better.
Yes.
They're always better.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm like, let's build a team.
Ever since Nike started doing Oregon's uniforms and the Terps with their unis, like there's just been so many great college uniforms that I've been itching for the NFL to adopt some of these. And the color rush kind of felt like the first instance where they were like, we're going to do something here that's really, really going to turn some heads. And granted, there was some controversy with the color rush the first year. But after that, I think that it gave us an opportunity to see some really, really cool uniform stylings. And now they're just going to keep moving with it. And I love the same colored jersey pant combos with the helmet, just like that full color scheme. It's gonna be so dope.
Nothing made me happier than a Thursday night game when the Titans and the Jaguars were both awful. And the Titans wear powder blue head to toe, and the Jaguars wear that piss yellow.
Oh my goodness!
With the black helmet that faded to gold in the back. that uniform matchup made me so happy, but it made you physically ill to look at those.
All right. So as a uniform guy, we talked about some of the more interesting and fun uniforms. Which one do you dislike the most?
I hate the Bears all orange.
Okay.
That's not necessarily new. They wore that last year. I really, really dislike the Steelers throwbacks.
Interesting.
The prison unis with the block numbers.
Yeah. The Giants throwback to 1933 is not my fave either.
That's fair.
It's not. I'd say honestly one of my faves is the Eagles throwback. The
Kelly Green.
No, not that one. The Frankfurt Yellow Jackets throwback with the
Oh,
light blue, the yellow.
yes.
That uniform is fire. But like some of the other ones are just like it's too basic, or it just like the coloring is just
the Seahawks are going back to their 1990s for their alternate.
Oh,
it's the steel and I think it's like seafoam blue, but it's like gray. It's like the motif of it. It's so cool looking.
That's gonna be a fun jersey.
Actually, the all white Packers uniforms, I actually like.
I saw those. Those are pretty interesting. Not gonna lie.
Yellow and green is not a great. Sorry, Packers fan. I just don't like it. I don't like it. The white on white with the green G, it works. I like it. And I'm picturing that Bears game, week 18. And it's snowing, and the Packers are wearing all white, and the Bears would wear their all oranges and ruin it. But I'm picturing the Bears in navy head to toe. It'd be such a cool visual.
If the all white in the snow would be immaculate. It would be one of the coolest combos that I've seen.
Bengals. all-white Bengal
goodness.
tiger in the snow would
All
be
white
sick.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was one of the advertisements, but that was one of the shots that they did for the promo when they put it out. So I can only imagine that actually happening on the field. And then imagine a celebration where he just comes out crawling like a tiger after a touchdown, and that all white uni in the snow, done.
Is it wrong that I pictured Joe Burrow?
Oh, give me at least Jamar Chase. Give me a receiver doing it. No Joe Burrow with his blonde hair. By the way, have you seen Joe Burrow's haircut? What happened to him? He's got tired of losing. He's like, all right, that's it. I'm going Eminem.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's 8
like,
Mile.
he's like, that's it. I'm hardcore now. And I was like, please stop. Go back to Joe Burrow from the Bayou Burrow.
He's saying all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
It's about wins, right?
It's always
about
of course.
rings. And that's where he's at mentally, at least the way he's presenting himself to the media and to the public, right? So, cut off his flowing locks, and it's a cry for help because I don't think the Bengals win the division this year.
I agree with that. I don't see them winning the division either.
So they have some issues up front and with the run game.
Well, I mean, they might go fourth in their division.
Oh, we might have our first bet of the podcast.
Oh goodness. Okay, well, give me the division the way you see it now.
Browns.
Okay.
See, I say that.
Yeah, there you go. Immediately regret it. Immediately.
Because what's his name's back?
From the Browns, Deshaun Watson?
Watson's back. If Watson gets hurt week 2 and Winston takes over, they win the division.
Ooh, hot take.
Put that on.
That's a hot take.
So it's probably the Ravens, right?
Ravens repeating the division.
Yeah.
No one has a problem. I can see that happening.
Yeah. Ravens, Browns.
They're going to get better.
So really what it comes down to is Bengals and Russell Wilson.
It's not going to be Bengals and Russell Wilson. It's going to be Bengals and Justin Fields.
Oh wow!
Here's the dilemma, right? With Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, you have an older, more experienced, more cerebral quarterback with the skill set, or that you want or at least the history of his skill set that you want the younger quarterback to have. And a younger quarterback that you wish had the athleticism that your old quarterback used to have. So they're literally just a father and son combination in here. So if they can play off each other, I don't know how that dynamic's going to work, but if you can play off each other, they're going to use Justin Fields much better than Taysom Hill got used.
So you're saying that Justin Fields is future junior.
Oh, goodness.
That is essentially what we're talking about. Justin Fields is future junior.
He's the son that Russell Wilson never had.
Oh boy, this is what we want this to be. But yeah, I got the Bengals finishing ahead of the Steelers.
Yeah, the Bengals and the Steelers. Okay, as someone who's never seen Mike Tomlin have a season that wasn't that less than 500 season, I'll take that bet.
Bet is still on the table. I'll shake your hand on it in a moment. Well, the point I want to make is that the Steelers should still be above 500.
So you think all the teams in the division are going to be above 500?
Yes.
No, that's interesting.
So I mean, I'm in on Steelers in 4th place in the AFC North. But I think that all the teams are above 500.
I'll take that. All right.
We'll figure out what that bet actually is. I don't know. We shot some.
It's a shot. Yeah, it's a shot. It's a shot. It's a shot. It's not even a shot rack. It's just Malloy. Ooh.
So before we get too bogged down in making more bets about the future junior and his football skills, let's talk about preseason week 1.
Preseason week 1.
And I'm going to grab this because I cannot commit to memory the preseason.
The whole
games.
schedule?
It's not
Of course
going to
not.
happen.
There are going to be some interesting games in week 1, but there are going to be a few stinkers.
Yeah, so full slate starts Thursday the 8th, runs through Sunday the 11th. This is always an interesting one for me, but now for us, as Sean has joined our Q&W fantasy leagues, we draft the second weekend in August. Mm-hmm. So these games are sometimes on while we're drafting, and it's terrifying. Because you draft a guy, and you look up at the screen, and he just crunched. Well, there's my season. And it's the second week of August. There weren't a whole lot of games on this slate that stood out to me, Sean. I I'm kind of interested in Falcons Dolphins.
Really?
I feel like.
Well, I guess with the arrival of Kirk in that system now, the big payout in Miami, I can definitely see the Falcons are going to be significantly better than they were last year. Even if Kirk Cousins gets injured in like the first half a second of the season, because Sean's a Raiders fan, just FYI. I'm just going to put that out there. Go Black Hole. Anyway, I was hoping that our team was going to move forward on a quarterback, and we were unable to get one in the draft. I was hoping for a guy from Washington. I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with him, But at the end of the day, he ended up getting drafted to a team that just signed a quarterback to a very, very lucrative deal in the Falcons. And so Michael Penix Jr. was my guy off the board, hoping they would go to our team. Now watching him back up Kirk Cousins and seeing how that team's dynamics is going to go, it's going to be real interesting to see how that fares. But they're going to be a significantly better team this year, I feel, than they were last year. Kirk Cousins, say what you will, but he does have good leadership qualities, and teams have faith in him. Otherwise, he wouldn't keep getting paid.
Yep.
It's
August 2nd. We have no idea who is going to start these games. I would like to see Kirk Cousins get into that system a little bit. I don't know if they play him.
We might see Penix. We might see Penix week one preseason. All Penix. All the time.
But I think from a scheme standpoint, the Dolphins scheme really well for defensive secondary. Okay. And for the Falcons to have a good year this year, they have to stretch the field. Yep. They have to be better with London deep.
Yep.
You got to have Bijan on wheel routes.
Pitt's got to do more for me.
Well, supposedly they're going to split him out wide.
Well, that's going to be. It might be better for him. Honestly, they should have never had him tight to the line. He should have been split out. He's a much better receiving tight end than he is a blocking tight end. That's you bring in another guy whose job is to block if you're going to play a 2 tight end set. But otherwise, let him split out as a receiver. Let him be good at what he does. Yeah. Let him be a receiver.
So I think from a scheme standpoint, that game is on during the C-League draft. Yeah. So I'm hoping to watch that at Top Golf and just kind of take in kind of the packages, right? The players matter less, unless it's the starters for some reason. Mm-hmm. But just from a scheme standpoint, I think we'll learn a lot about the Dolphins' depth and what the hell the Falcons are going to do on offense.
Fair enough.
So I'm excited for that one.
So you got?
We don't even have lines. It's so early. There's not even betting lines on these. Dolphins -3.5. Okay. Book it.
Next game we got slated is Houston-Pittsburgh. So we just got to see a little bit of the Texans. They obviously had a great season last year with CJ. We don't know who's going to start, but I'm expecting to see a good amount of Justin Fields in this game.
Yeah.
I feel like I might see one drive of Russ, even if he goes 3 and out. I feel like I would want to see that, and then just to say Russ is healthy, Russ is here, and Russ is the guy, and then see Fields come out and play the rest of, at least probably another 2 quarters, 1 or 2 quarters.
If I'm Steelers brass, I'm not letting Justin Fields play at all in preseason because the fan base is going to get it. Russell Wilson's going to play 3 downs and throw an interception. And Fields is going to come in and score 28 points in a preseason game. And it's going to start. It's going to start.
But I will say this, though. Pittsburgh is not a place where you have the influence from the fans affecting coaches' decisions, right? Mike Tomlin is not a guy who cares about the background noise. You've watched him for
16 years.
We've watched him for season after season after season just be either exceptional or at least pretty good. Even against some of the better matchups in the NFL, when Pittsburgh played against some of the better teams, they played up to the level of the team they played against. So I've never really felt like fan influence or the background noise is really something that really got to him. And he's had some pretty prolific players on that team. I mean, he had Plexico Barris, he had Antonio Brown, he had some guys who were really.
Was Plexico Barris a Steeler?
Yes, he was.
Really?
Sure was.
After he shot himself? Or beforehand?
I don't remember if it was before or after, but he was a Steeler, yeah.
I just had flashes of Antoine Randall L.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm going to time check. This is our first show, in case we didn't tell you yet.
Yeah, he was a Steeler from 2000. Oh, so he was a Steeler twice. He was 2000 to 2004. then went to the Giants for 4 years, then the Jets after a hiatus, and then came back to Pittsburgh from 2012 to 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, so most of his career actually technically was for Pittsburgh. He spent 5 years in Pittsburgh, 4 years in New York, and then 1 year in the toilet with the Jets.
I am not sure. I knew he played for the Jets. I don't think I could have told you he played for the Steelers.
Oh, I remember him playing for. He was actually very good for the Steelers.
Picture.
02, he had 1,300 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. That was his best. That was his best actual overall season.
Was that opposite Hines Ward?
That would have been. I think it might have been opposite Hines Ward. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. That was.
That Super Bowl was like 08, right? Like the end of Hines Ward's career. He was Oppo Santonio Holmes.
Yep.
So yeah, that feels right.
Yeah. He did technically 2012 and 2013. He was on the Steelers, but he didn't play 2013 due to injury.
Gotcha.
But yeah, his 2 of his best years were in Pittsburgh. 01 and 02. 03 wasn't that great, and then his best touchdown years were the Giants 06 and 07, where he put up, or I guess 5, 6, 7. He had one season just under 1,000, but he had 1,200 and 1,000 in 05 and 07, and he had 7, 10, and 12 touchdowns. So, he got to be used more. Got to be used more as a weapon. Yeah, but yeah. So anyway,
physical. He
said, getting back to our topic at hand, Pittsburgh has been a team that I've seen over the years, growing up in Philadelphia, especially. Watched their head coaches handle all the background noise, never really let it get to them, and just come out and execute. So I'm going to go with, in the preseason game, with nothing on the line, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh -4.
I like it. So we are up against the clock here.
Okay.
We did not purge. I did not purge what is probably hordes of disgusting pictures from my phone. So let's go lightning round through the rest of the games here and close it out.
All right.
Is there anything else on the slate for Saturday or Sunday that really jumps out to you for preseason week 1?
Oh, well, real quick, you just skipped over the one game that we didn't even mention in here that actually would be pretty interesting. Eagles at Ravens, 2 prolific quarterbacks. You're going to see two new running backs in those systems, which is going to be real interesting. Who do you like in that game?
Without knowing who plays, assuming that the Eagles don't play any of their starters because they open the season on a Friday night in Brazil.
Okay.
Still got the Eagles. Still got the Eagles.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't see too many big name players playing in Baltimore that day.
I think it's an interesting one regular season. Right?
Oh yeah, regular season, of course, but you get to see now. The running schemes with different style of running backs than you've seen before from those two teams. So it'll be interesting to see. The Saturday games, you got Commanders at Jets, stinker. I'm gonna go Commanders. I'm never gonna do. There's no point in even discussing it. Aaron Rodgers isn't gonna play. Aaron Rodgers, you'd be lucky if Aaron Rodgers plays until the first game of the season. He's not touching the field.
You know what I like? I'll also take the Commanders there.
Yeah.
Bears and Bills.
Bears and Bills should be fun to watch. Obviously, again, Bears any preseason game just going to be a build up for the season. Bills remodeled Bills offense with none of the receivers from before, so we'll see who Josh Allen throws to besides himself. But he won't. Obviously, he's not going to play this preseason game. So probably go Bears in this one.
I'll take the Bills there, just so we have some parity.
Split. All right.
How about that Chiefs Jaguars game?
Chiefs-Jags game should be fun to watch. Both teams are looking to have really, really good season this year. Chiefs looking to repeat. Jags finally trying to get out of the first round of the playoffs. Really, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, for all you talk about how good he is in the season, I mean, really, he just hasn't showed up anywhere to me that makes me have confidence in him. That contract is incredible for his valuable work, but I'll take Jags in that one.
I'm with you. And that might be a first round of the playoffs preview. That might be Chiefs knocking the Jaguars out in January.
Fair enough. Unless they get a bye, which is very realistic in that division. Packers, Browns, good. We'll better see some nice uniforms.
Yes.
I'm gonna take.
It's gonna be awful.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Browns as the home team early on in the preseason. Nothing really special here. Just it's going to be two good teams throughout the season, but I don't expect them to do too much.
I don't even know who the Packers' backup quarterback is. So
Good luck. It was Jordan Love until about 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, the rest of the Week 1 slate, they're games that would be really interesting if they're regular season games. And I think just because
we're
not
so
going to see
excited
starters,
about the real season, but it's like these guys aren't going to play. So
like Saints Cardinals, I could get up for. Those are two teams like in the middle of the pack, and that would be a lot of fun, but not without starters. I'm not sure that we learn anything.
Well, with D-Hop out, and he's obviously not going to play in the preseason, but with him out for a pretty significant part of the season, and then, San Francisco, they're not going to start anybody, but I'm going to take San Francisco against Tennessee in the preseason. It just feels right. Seattle at LA, nothing really stands out here for me. So, I'll take the home team simply because they're at home.
Yeah. Give me Titans at home, give me Chargers at home.
Yep.
Man.
Preseason game. So Sunday's games, same thing. I mean, not too much to push. You got Broncos at Colts, and then Cowboys at Rams. I think the Cowboys are just going to be very delusional as they are every single season. They're going to pay as many people as they can, and it still won't do them anything. Get Dak out of there.
I'm fading the boys every week. Give me the Rams.
Yep.
All right, so those are the games, preseason week 1. We will be back in between. Well, we weren't planning to do them in between preseason games, but we do have to test a remote film.
Yeah, so we won't be able to be with each other filming, in the same room. So we're gonna kind of test the formats out and see what works out. I've got my own little setup at home. Rick will have his. We'll try doing some mobile stuff and kind of see what works there, and kind of try to give you guys as much content as we can. Even when we're not with each other, you want to make sure the show runs even on weeks when we aren't able to be in person. So it'll be pretty cool.
So yeah, this is Yelling and Screaming, our new NFL show here on the Club 602 channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. And you'll see us on socials. And if you're local to the Valley, there might be some opportunities to hop on the show.
My name is Sean. At KS Flash.
Oh, dropping handles.
Hey, you said on the socials, baby. You gotta do it.
I love it. I am at King of Lakemore everywhere. I think everywhere.
Yeah, you'll find me. I'm usually wearing sunglasses.
But hey, thanks for jumping into this NFL season with us, and we'll get a schedule posted. But until then, we'll see you when we see you.
We'll see you when we see you.